All right, good morning, everyone. Excited to see you. Today, I have a big task for us, and we're going to see if I'm going to accomplish it. But the thing I hear over and over and over, and is a consistent challenge with everyone, you can do a digital hand or a chat box hand or something and tell me if you agree, but pricing, right? Pricing has been a challenge. So, number one, finding the market and the price that you're selling in. And then, second, how do we get the sellers to align, right, with the pricing strategy that we are after and that we are trying to get them to understand? So, today, I have shown you guys a bunch of different parts of the pricing strategy. Today, I'm going to hopefully show you the end to end of the entire pricing strategy. Okay, so now bear with me because I pulled all this stuff together to walk you through the process, and it's not going to be perfect. So we're not actually pricing this house. Okay, so we're going to do it kind of quick. I'm going to show you the steps and I'm going to show you how we're gathering information, but don't get too detailed, right, on the comping it and what we're using to look at things. Okay, all right, so let's see if we can do this. So first, we're going to start off with our subject property. Okay, so I just found this property at 5622 Guilford. So where I'd always start, they would call me and say, hey, you want to list my house? I would have pre-qualified them, so I'd have a general idea of what they wanted to list it for. What these people told me was 460 is what they thought. Okay, 460 is what they'd like to get out of their house. Okay, great. That means nothing to me. I'm just using that as another data point, right? Okay, so I'm going to first go into the tax records. And the very first math I always do is appreciation. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to start with is 2008 is when they bought it. Now, they have sold this since, okay? So don't go pulling up history or anything because we're using that as our guide. So this is when they called me to list it, okay? And they bought it for 220 is what it was listed for. They bought it for 217 in 2008. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is do 4% appreciation. I just do a general. Take that 217 by 4%. Times the years they've lived there, which in this instance is 18 years. And I came up with 156,888. That's how much this property should have earned them over the time they've owned it. Okay, if the property did exactly what the data says it should, which is gained them 4% appreciation year over year, they would have at least had that. Okay, now, you will have some detailed people that want to say, well, 217, 4%, add that, $8,000. Now we're at 220, whatever, 4%, add that, right? So you can incrementally jump it every single time. What I found is that's a lot of work to get you back to a very similar place that in the grand scheme of things does not change things that much. However, be ready for it if you have someone that detailed that wants to walk it through that way. Okay. And I'm going to keep my chat box open. So if you have questions as we go, or if you need me to slow down, or if you need to see something again, please holler and let me know. Okay, so 217.9 is what they bought it for. We just found out appreciation adds at least 156. We're at 313. Okay, so that's like great. If I can at least look them in the face and say, listen, this got you at least 313. It did what it should have. You have a great investment on your hands. I already feel great. But we also have to consider what have they done to improve it as well, right? That's if this house stayed exactly the same, right? And let's find out what they've done to improve it. Okay, well, wait, hold on. So this is my research before I even go in the property. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the tax record. I'm going to do that math, 313. I'm going to look at 3-bedroom. They did the roof, heat pump, gas backup, water heater, disposal, microwave, front door, screen porch, doorways, okay, fenced backyard, storage shed, and they updated the bathrooms. Okay, that's important because what we need to know is that the condition of this property when they bought it in '08 already had the bathrooms updated at that point. Are they re-updated now when we go in to look at it, right? Because now we're looking at what have they improved. Okay, everything else great. We've got square footage of about 1572. Okay, what other questions would you want to know now before you go meet them at the property Is there anything else you'd want to see before we go out and meet them at the property that we need to know about this house? Throw it in the chat box if you need to. Okay, and for those of you jumping on, I'm glad you're here. We're doing the end-to-end pricing strategy. Okay, so all we've done is found out this is the property we're selling, what they bought it for and when, and where 4% appreciation is going to get them. Okay, and then I'll keep revisiting that stuff as we go. All right, so now we've looked at the, oh, sorry. Nope, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So before I even go out there, I am going to pull up actives, pendeds, and solds, right, in that area. Now, because this is Washington Township, I know that these properties will definitely value based on like blocks and areas, right? You have to stay within a specific segment of the area. So when I did my search, I searched by a map search, okay? And these are the houses that came up as far as the actives, pendeds, and solds in the last 90 days in this area. As long as I have 3 or more, I feel pretty good about it. Okay. So again, this is high level. I haven't even been at the house yet. I'm just kind of getting an idea of where might I walk into this house. Okay. The solds is where I'm going to start. I'm going to pick these 5 solds and I'm going to look at a quick CMA. Stop share. And I'm going to show you that. So again, these are all just data points we're putting together, right, to tell a full story. So now I just pulled these 5 general ones. We've got some 2 beds in there. We're a 3-2. That's important to just pay attention to. We've got a close price of about $435, a median of about $430, $437, $430, right? I'm getting a better general range. They were at $460. Why are they at $460 wanting? And like, what am I missing? Okay, I'm working more to where I think it might be. Cool. Days on market, 6 to 13. That's good to know. And then your list to sale price, you can do that math here, or we can do it on, we're going to look at it later on something else. Okay. But just interesting things to know before I walk in here. Okay. So now, based on all of this, what kind of range do you have in your head for what you'd take into this property with everything we've said so far? Either shout it out or put it in the chat box, or I'd love your ideas because I know what I'd go in with. And again, we haven't even seen it. We don't know the condition. All we've done is pre-qual at this point, right? So if you're just trying to get a range, here's where I think it might be. 5, 4, 3. Anyone brave enough? Love it. Thank you, Jenny. 425 to 435. Who else? Anyone else? Okay, nailed it. That's exactly where I'd be. I would be, 425, we know they're at 460. Okay, so I'd be keeping that in mind. I'd definitely be thinking, okay, they want 460. So I'm we're probably going to land at 425, 435. Let's get in there and see what's happening. Okay, everybody agree? You can throw your thumbs up if you want to, but yes. So what I'm looking at is I'm walking into them with great news already. Because number one, their house did really well because they made money on it because they made the 4% appreciation every year. We already did that math, right? Check. And they've made more probably because of what they've done with it. We are at this 425 to 460 range. Now we're going to walk into the house. Okay, so I'm going to get you guys. I'm killing it so far on my screen shares. I just want to tell you. I didn't think this would work smoothly, so I'm happy. I hope some of you can see this. Okay, so now we're walking through the house. Okay, so now this is this year. We're going to sell this property, and we got a screen porch. I'll just kind of let you guys look and see. Well, you know what? No, I'm going to say them out loud because those of you who can't see a screen, I'll kind of commentate for you. So great screen porch. Brick floor, ceiling fan out there, hardwoods through the whole main level, typical bungalow in Washington Township, open floor plan, original windows and doors, it looks like, for the majority of the property. It has a family room that stretches the whole front side, and then a dining room. Yep. Somebody need me to stop? Okay. Most important pieces, right, are going to be the kitchen. Okay, so then I'm going to look at this kitchen. Kitchen looks like newer backsplash, definitely an updated kitchen. They've got white cabinets. They've got white granite countertops, it looks like, or solid surface of some sort. I'll verify that, right, when I'm in there. New windows in the kitchen, new appliances in the kitchen, a nice hood vent in there, a nice big fridge. They've got more counter space than I would say you're going to get sometimes in here. And it's nicely open to the dining room and stuff. So all pluses as far as value. So I might be inching up a little higher on my 435 because of that kitchen now. Give me some thumbs up if you agree. Okay, so now I'm at kind of that higher end potentially. Then I'm going to just kind of keep looking. Okay, we've got some angled ceilings upstairs. It looks like the upstairs is kind of a loft converted. Not all buyers love that. Angled bathroom. We know how hard those are sometimes, right? When you've got your angled showers and stuff. So, just some things to consider. Great backyard, fenced, beautiful. Looks like it has alley access, has a one-car detached garage, a nice fence. Okay. So now, okay, we know what we're dealing with. Yes? So now we're going to walk through with the sellers the actives. Okay? So let me get these up. And now we're going to compare our house with what's out there currently to purchase in this same area. Okay? And let me go to selected, and then I'm going to get into our BLC sheets. Okay, here we go. Let me throw my chat on. Okay, Steven. Looks very nice. Condition would increase the price point. Our other comps in the same getting the 460. That's what we're exactly about to find out. Okay, exactly about to find out. So now we're going to dig in with the sellers. This, it might have been Connie. I don't know. I didn't sell this property. At least someone went through and maybe not a staging company, but definitely like made sure it was set up correctly to show. Okay, so let's look at, I got to share my screen here, guys. Sorry. So now I'm going to look at the actives, okay? Why am I going to start at the actives? Because when buyers are out looking, this is exactly what they're going to compare it to, right? Is what's on the market right now, okay? This one is 400. I'm going to skip through this one because it's our lowest, okay? 409, we're already higher than some of these. Now let's look at 410, 450. Actually, we'll look at this 410 right here. Okay, it started at 425. It's only a 2-bedroom and a 1-bath. We already know we're way over that one, right? So we're going to skip that one. That's exactly why that's priced that way. Okay, now we're at 450. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5-bath. Okay, we have 2 full, but ours is wonky, right? So we have an objectable full potentially. 1,500 square feet. They're at 1,400 square feet. Great, pretty close. We're a tad bit bigger. Okay, looks nice. Their porch is open. Ours is screened. They have a swing. We don't. Comparable. Brick fireplace might be a selling point to some. Very similar so far. Kitchen, again, similar. Ours looks a tad nicer quality, but maybe it could be pictures, right? Our floors seemed nicer, maybe redone. And the originals, these might be a fabricated. Pretty original bathroom. One-car detached garage there, still a fenced yard. So on this one, what do we think? That's at 450. Could we be higher than that? Should we be exactly where that one is? And do we think we'd beat it? If someone looked at ours and this one, do you think we have enough that would say, yes, we're going to choose yours at 450? Or do we want to go lower than it? So if someone looks at both these houses, they say, I'm no question picking yours. Does that make sense? Yep, depends on how quickly they want to sell. You're exactly right. Let's assume they're very motivated. Okay, let's assume they're motivated. Okay, Carrie would come in right below. I'd go in a little under with the hope of being pushed up. Great strategies, okay? You guys are all right. Okay, so I think we're right here. We can definitely compete with this one. Maybe we're at like a 445, right? 445 to 449. Let's look at the next one. This one's 475. It should be great, or it's sitting for a long time and way overpriced, right? Has a one-car detached garage, similar porch. Fireplace, stone, does look a little bit bigger. Floors are a laminate. They've been newer. Kitchen's bigger. Maybe not. Maybe a similar kitchen. Bathrooms are updated. That's going to be your biggest thing with this one. Nicer bedroom layouts also. So, yep, no question. Oh, and we've got that additional finished area. Not as nice of a backyard potentially, but yeah, I would go in saying we'd need to be under this one. Okay, so now, where are we? We're at a price of like 445, right? Is where we think is the exact price that they should go. Okay, now it's their option. Okay, so the next things we're going to look at here. Oh, hold on. These were the two I was adding right before we got on. And so let me make sure I can get back to them. So now we're going to look at what should happen if we're priced right, if we're priced higher, or if we're priced lower than the market. Okay? Because when we pick our price, right, we're going to base that off of their motivation. And we're going to say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, right, you said you want to sell quickly. Right? So what I would say is we go just underneath this one, because this weekend when buyers go out, we want them to look at both of these, and you may even go farther, right? And say, now we only have one good comp. I'd like to see 3 or 4 that we might compete with, right? Go out of our blocks or whatever. And you just really want to get a good feel. How would we compare with the other things they were seeing? Okay. So now, okay, we're all like, okay, 445 feels like the right number. We're not pushing the market. If they said 460, we would say, okay, we can do 460, and here's what we might see, okay? Because we know that might be pushing the value on the buyers, okay? So let's go look at what's happening currently at market value, okay? So this is the statistics at market value that I'm going to share with you now. So now I've jumped into market insights. Okay, you guys all seeing that? So a lot to look at on this one. I went ahead and did Marion County. We've got all the property types selected. You can narrow those down if you want to. Doesn't really matter. And you can narrow down your townships. Usually when I'm looking, I just kind of keep Marion County all at once. You could like... Let's unselect all.
Even though condos are usually a lot less expensive?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a data point, right? So I'm never looking too detailed. If you want to, sure, take them out, right? But again, it's like a data point in your field, right? So you can go as detailed and get as intricate as you want, or you can just use it all to tell a story, okay? So we lost information when we did that. So I don't want to. I want to see all of it, okay? Because I want more data than less. So sales price doesn't really matter. Here's what we want to look at. Compared to June of last year, we're up. Compared to May, we're just equal. Nothing's happened really there. Closed sales are up both times. We're up 12% and we're up 3% over just last month. Days on the market are also up. So the comps we were looking at, we're selling in 6 to 16 days, I think we were saying, right? And this is saying that it's going up, so we should be a little bit more prepared for that. Here's what it's also saying. 98.6% of our list price is likely what we're going to land at. So if we list this property at 445, we're going to end up around 438. Okay? 438-ish. Guys, my calculator might not be perfect. But you want to do that math there. Okay? And see if we have to negotiate, here's where we might end up. How do you feel about that? Again, we might push it up, right? Our goal is to go under and push it up. So that's great. Okay? And then we're going to look at the months of inventory as 2.2%. Okay? So that just gives us an idea. It might take us about 2 months to get this property sold. Okay. And then the other set of facts I'm going to look at is this. Now, this is in our showings in Supra, our Super Analytics. Okay. This is the market trends page. Okay. So here's what I'm going to know. It's going to take about 6 showings if we're at market value and about 40 days to sold. Okay. So that is all, right? What we should expect to see. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start your property at 445. Every 7 days, I'm going to give you, well, and actually, let's back that up because they decided. So when I'm saying we're going to start your house, I'm saying you've chosen to start the property at 445. Based on what we've seen, I would anticipate it to follow what an at market value or just below market value property should do, which is we should go a little bit faster than what these say. Okay, so we should see showings faster than 6 and 40 days. Okay, we want to see that's really what we want to see, right? We want to see showings happening right away. If we're seeing showings happening right away, we're priced right. Okay? If we're not, then we know, right? We've got about 6 showings to figure this out, and when we've got to have it right. So you may give it 2 showings and get some feedback and see. The other thing I'm going to base it off of is how quickly are these showings coming? Okay? Again, it could take 40 days. 16 to 40 days. So it's okay if it takes 4 days to get a showing. That's right on market. Okay, so no one should panic because that's what if it goes at 4 days, we get a showing, we're about there, right? We want to see 1 every few days at least. If we start stalling on that, we need to make a change. Okay, so as long as we're seeing some showings, then once our feedback comes in, right? We want to make sure our feedback is telling us that we are on the top of the list for the buyers. Okay, so everyone's going to tell us what they like and what they don't like. Every single person's going to tell us that. However, the information that's valuable is my buyers are choosing between yours and another. My buyers are sleeping on yours tonight to make a decision. That's when we know we're making it to the eyes of the buyers, right? That's when we know we're priced exactly right to get an offer. If feedback is anything other than that, we are likely too high. Okay, if they're saying this house is great, but that angled bathroom and bedroom just aren't ideal, we knew that would be an objection, right? This house is beautiful. It's beautifully staged. That kitchen is amazing, but, right? Then we know, our 445 still, as much as we tried to be aggressive and beat the market and we did our best, the market is telling us it's already shifted and we're not there, right? We're getting but feedback and we got to make a change. Okay? All right. That was a lot. Questions, comments, and let's talk through this.
Just for kicks.
Carrie, hold on 1 second, Connie. Mm-hmm. Carrie, you said, where is this? It's a random house I pulled off this morning. I know nothing about it. I kind of wanted none of us to know anything about it. And it actually sold in 2025. It ended up selling for $440, I think. And I went back to see when they bought it the first time. So I was like, okay, if they wanted us to list it before, what would we be walking into? So that's all I do. Oh, sorry, the sheets with all the stats. Okay, perfect. So that one, let me go back and share my screen so that all of you guys know, because this has been huge questions. I've gotten this question about 10 times in the last couple weeks, because this is such important information for everyone, and you got to know where to find these. Okay, so here we are on our desktop, our MyBor, right? Our MyBor Central, and the market insights are the one that is the graphs. Okay, so Market Insights has all this. This is a glance at the entire market, is what you want to think about with Market Insights. The showing numbers, you're going to go to Supra for. Okay, so showings the S. And in Supra, you're going to go down on the left. There's two different reports that you'll want to use in Supra. Okay, and I'm glad you said this, because we'll go ahead and jump into this other one. I wasn't sure how much time we'd have today. Oh, okay, so showing insights. So I pulled the last stuff up from analytics and the market trends on the left side. And then you can choose areas, you can compare areas, you can look at 2 or 3 or 4 compared. I love that when they're moving from one area to another. Let's lay them out so you can truly see how different those areas are acting and competing, if they are, or if they're doing the same thing just behind or whatever. That's huge to let them know that also. And then it's interesting to watch down here the changes in activity and stuff, right? Because this is kind of the weekly activity, the new listing volume. That's important to watch. So all this is really good data just to watch your markets and what's happening everywhere. So that's the market trends. Then the final step I would do with the sellers is go into showing insights. Okay, and now I'm going to go to Marion County. I don't know my alphabet. And then we're going to put in a price of 400 to 500. Because remember, we were right there in the middle. And I'm going to look at the beginning of July to the end of July. Okay, can you guys all see this? So here's what this is telling me. At each $10,000 increment, I can even move that down to $5,000. Okay, so in every $5,000 increment in this area, how many showings are they getting? Okay, so here's where we're at. 455, 450, and look at us. We want to go at 445, and it's actually getting more activity than the one just below it. No, not much. Okay, I mean, it's a number here or there. So this I wouldn't be too concerned about. However, look how bad it would be if you were at that 460 that they wanted. So here's a great data point to say, listen, here's why we shouldn't be at 460. Right? We definitely, if we go a little bit lower, we're going to have much more eyes on us, and we're going to create a lot more competition at a more competitive price. Okay. Now, guys, you're not only going to get the showings in this one, right? You're going to get all the showings. These buyers are going to look from 425 to 450. So you're going to get all these showing eyeballs in this whole area. Okay. And buyers, this doesn't mean per buyer. Right? So each buyer might look at 3 houses or 2 houses or 1 house. So, right? You just got to take it all with a grain of salt. It's the info we have to work with. Okay. But it gives you a really, really, really good guide of kind of where you should be. Okay. Is that helpful? All right. What other questions? Opening the chat. Okay, good. All right, awesome. So lots we went through today, but hopefully that kind of gave you. My intention always with pricing, I think the most stressful part of listings right now is when you feel like the price is on you, right? And uh-oh, I chose this price and now it's not doing what it should. Having the conversation this way, really telling them, how do you think we'll compete with this other house? Will we be better than, less than? Have them lay it out, put it right where they think it should be. Okay, great. Now, where do you want to price it based on? Okay, now the market told us it'd probably be around that 450, 425, right? And now, right, we push it up, push it down, all that kind of stuff. Great question. How much should you take into consideration the age of the roof, HVAC, etc.? I take quite a bit. Now, here's how I talk to the sellers about that. If we are comparing two houses at the exact same price and one has a new roof and one doesn't, the buyers are going to choose the new roof, right? So that's how that comes into consideration. It doesn't necessarily mean dollar for dollar they'll pay more for your new roof. It doesn't mean they're going to pay you $15,000 more because you have a new roof, but it does mean they'll likely, all things considered, choose you. You're going to be faster sale because of your new roof. Okay. And initially, when we kind of looked at that property, we saw that they had just put a new roof on. So yeah, I would definitely, when you're looking at those actives, right, it's not going to matter really for the solds. That's the hard part. But in the actives, it will matter. If everybody else has new windows in that area and we're still sitting back here with original windows, they're going to choose those before ours. So we may only be able to overcome that objection with a lower price. Okay. Hopefully I explained that pretty well. And that's same with HVAC and that kind of stuff, the things that really make a confident buyer. Okay, that's what I use those. A new roof, a new HVAC. Our buyer's going to walk in with confidence that they can live in this house for a long time. Things are in great shape. That creates a more confident buyer and a stronger offer for you as the seller. Okay, and that's what we ultimately want. A proud, confident buyer that gives us a strong offer, is really ready to buy this house and do whatever it takes to get to closing. Okay? All right, you guys are awesome. Great questions this morning. Thank you. If you need anything, if you ever want me to look at a price on a house, send it to me. If you walk through all these steps in this order, you should be in good hands. So go get them, go take those listings, price them right, and get them sold. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.